Okay, picture this. An entire city. Now, imagine every single drop of water needed to keep that city alive. Its people, its businesses, the whole shebang, just vanishing into thin air. Every single day. Welcome to the silent crisis of South Africa's missing water. In this explainer, we're not actually looking at a natural disaster. We're digging into a massive systemic management failure that's literally costing billions. When we hear about water rationing or empty taps in South Africa, our minds almost immediately jump straight to drought, right? Or climate change. But the actual root cause, the real reason taps run dry in so many municipalities, is a staggering failure of infrastructure and management. We're literally pumping water into the system only for it to completely disappear before it ever reaches a paying customer. Crazy, right? So to really understand this crisis, we need to talk about something called non-revenue water, or NRW for short. This is basically the core metric we'll be tracking throughout this explainer. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's water that's treated, produced, and pumped into the municipal supply system, but it just never makes it to a paying customer. It's lost to leaks, unaccounted for, or just unbilled, meaning it generates absolutely zero revenue. 47%. Let that sink in for a second. According to the 2023 No Drop report, which, by the way, gave us our very first audited NRW dataset in South Africa, nearly half of all the water pumped into our municipal systems just vanishes. Poof. Gone. And what's really alarming here, back in 2018, this figure was 41%, so we aren't improving. We're actually moving aggressively in the wrong direction. Let's try to translate that percentage into an actual physical volume, because it's a bit abstract. We're talking about 1.4 billion cubic meters of water lost every single year. To put that into perspective, that's enough water to fill over 560,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools annually. I mean, that is just a mind-boggling amount of water. And it represents billions of rands in lost revenue for municipalities that are already, quite frankly, financially strapped. We're just hemorrhaging water on an industrial scale. And look, this isn't just some isolated pocket of inefficiency. It's a massive, nationwide structural failure. Right now, 62% of water services authorities are officially classified as failing. According to the Municipal Infrastructure Grant Framework, any municipality with an NRW exceeding 30% that isn't actively bringing that number down, they're failing to manage their water supply. I mean, just take eThekwini Municipality, for example. They're reporting NRW levels hovering around an astonishing 50%. Which brings us to the ultimate mystery of this explainer. Where exactly is an entire city's worth of water disappearing to every single day? Like, it doesn't just evaporate, it has to go somewhere. So to solve this crisis, we really have to follow the water and break down exactly how and where it escapes the system. Let's dive right into it. The No Drop report splits our missing water into two distinct buckets. First, you have this massive 70% chunk that represents technical losses. Now, that tells us instantly that physical infrastructure, the actual pipes, the valves, the hardware, is our primary culprit here. The remaining 30% represents commercial losses. So let's unpack that big technical side first. Section 1, technical losses. The failing grid. So why are there so many leaks? Well, first off, aging, unreplaced pipes. A lot of South Africa's networks were built decades ago, and honestly, they've just reached the end of their serviceable life. They're corroded, they're falling apart. Second, municipalities just lack the funding and, frankly, the skilled technical staff to maintain them. But the absolute most devastating factor here? Cascading pressure failures. It's like a domino effect. When an old pipe bursts and isn't fixed properly, it alters the pressure in the whole system, which puts massive stress on the adjacent pipes, causing them to rupture too. It's just a vicious cycle of infrastructure collapse. Section 2, commercial losses. The unbilled 30%. Now, breaking down that remaining 30%, 18% of total NRW comes directly from meter inaccuracies and illegal connections. This means meters are either broken, completely outdated, or people have literally just tapped straight into the municipal line. Then, another 12% is lost to unbilled connections. Sometimes this is just pure administrative error, like the municipality simply doesn't send a bill out. Other times, it's due to political and community resistance to even installing meters in the first place. When you don't have enough staff to read the meters or enforce billing, well, that revenue just completely vanishes.
Section 3. The ripple effect, cascading consequences.
When a municipality loses 47% of its water, those consequences cascade right into daily life. For citizens, the water rationing and the annoyingly low pressure you might experience, that's actually often due to this NRW problem, not necessarily a drought. And for the economy, it's pretty devastating. Manufacturing plants have to shut down, agriculture takes a huge hit, and even hospitals struggle to function properly. And environmentally, it's a disaster. We are wasting massive amounts of electricity just to pump and treat 1.4 billion cubic meters of water that essentially just ends up disappearing right into the dirt.
And all of this creates the ultimate trap. It's basically a municipal finance death spiral. Here's how it works. Step 1, the water is unbilled or lost entirely. Step 2, because they heavily depend on those water sales, the municipality starts running at a massive revenue deficit, which leads to Step 3, because of that huge deficit, there is absolutely zero budget left for critical maintenance or, hiring actual engineers. Which brings us right to Step 4. The existing infrastructure starts failing even faster. Basically, the less money they make, the faster the whole system breaks down.
Section 4. Plugging the leaks. The path forward. So how do we fix it? Well, the Department of Water and Sanitation's No Drop program is heavily championing these things called performance-based contracts. And the core idea here is actually pretty brilliant. Private sector experts come in to fix the leaks, they assume the financial risk, and they only get paid if they actually manage to reduce water loss. But, and it's a big but, they aren't a magic bullet. For these contracts to actually work, they require strict preconditions from the municipality. We're talking political support from the council, real institutional buy-in, and serious community engagement. Without a solid, stable municipal foundation, even the best private contracts out there will just fall apart.
So, what are the real foundational pillars required to actually fix this mess? There are 5 absolute non-negotiables. First, we need massive, sustained infrastructure investment to rip out and replace those decaying pipes. Second, technical capacity building, meaning hiring real qualified engineers. Third, strict accountability for failing municipalities. Fourth, deep, meaningful community engagement to finally put a stop to illegal connections. And finally, the glue that holds all of this together, unwavering political will. You see, there's just no quick fix here for decades of underinvestment. If there is one absolutely crucial point I want you to walk away with from this explainer, it's this. This isn't a supply problem. This is a management problem. We really have to stop blaming the clouds and the climate for empty taps when we're literally losing half of our treated water to broken pipes and bad administration. The thing is, other countries have successfully solved their non-revenue water crises, and South Africa for sure can too.
It is absolutely a solvable problem. We've got the data, we know exactly where the leaks are, and we know the mechanisms required to fix them. But it all leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. Do we actually have the commitment to solve it? It's going to take relentless pressure from citizens and just unwavering dedication from leaders to finally turn the ship around. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep demanding better management, and I'll catch you in the next one.